the new term. Ms. Pat, our assistant extraordinary, tells me we have a quorum. So we will recognize the vice chairman, who we're happy to have as well, Senator Sparks, to make some motions for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move to elect Senator Berry as secretary of the committee.
All right. You've heard the motion. Any questions? We have a second. Any discussion? Any other motions? Nominations have been closed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Congratulations, Senator. Appreciate your help. All right. Next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that we adopt a quorum of 8 members, which is a majority of the committee, as a sufficient quorum to proceed with business.
All right. You've heard the motion. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. All right. And our final motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move we adopt the rules of the Senate as the committee rules of procedure, with the exception that a motion to reconsider may be disposed of on the same day as entered.
Okay. You've heard the motion. Are there any questions about that? Question?
Sure. The motion to reconsider usually lays over a day per the rules, but if we're in committee and someone's trying to hold something and it's a deadline day, the committee ought to be able to vote on that day to table that motion so that we can proceed with business. Otherwise, a simple motion to reconsider would be a killing motion on the final day.
Would you use your microphone? Yeah.
Deadline, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it's a deadline day, I kind of understand that. But if it's not a deadline, your motion said for all bills, right?
That the motion to reconsider, so in other words, any bill that would have been voted on by this committee in committee, which would otherwise pass out, also, if I'm not mistaken, per the rules, has to lay a day before it can be taken up on the floor as well. In other words, it wouldn't be taken up immediately. But if a motion to reconsider was entered on a piece of legislation in the committee, it has traditionally been the rules of several of the committees that they would just have an opportunity to dispose of it that day if the committee so voted. So I think it's more of an efficiency on the committee side. Certainly, someone has a second shot at that bill down on the floor if for some reason they didn't want it to get out of committee.
Good question, though.
So it wouldn't have to be a deadline day, just any bill that come up, you could bring it back up, call another meeting, or in that same meeting, or call another meeting.
No, sir. No, sir. Like, for instance, let's say I had a particular bill that went through and it passed, but someone in the committee did not care for that bill, had voted against it. They enter a motion to reconsider that particular bill. It would have to require an additional committee meeting. And of course, if it was on a deadline day, it would then be a killing motion. So most committees do adopt that if a motion to reconsider is in fact entered, that person that gave the motion would have the opportunity to speak to their motion so they could make a plea to the committee, but it would not hamstring the committee's business, especially since some bills are double referred, that it would allow for efficiency, and ultimately the committee is going to make that decision.
Other questions? Or you got other questions or follow-ups on that, Senator?
No, some of them probably need to die, so we can move on.
All right. Other questions? That was a good one. All right. You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
The ayes have it. All right. That's going to wrap up the business for this morning. I did want to preview tomorrow morning. We're going to call a 9 o'clock meeting of the committee. Mr. Nick back there? All right. Nick is our new liaison with the governor's office, and they have an interest in one of the bills that we've filed. We're not going to take it up tomorrow. It's on the Miller fix. You'll remember the last couple of years we tried to, and I think we have passed out of the Senate committee, a fix for the Miller case. The Supreme Court decision has kind of caused some issues with juveniles and how they're prosecuted and sentenced and that sort of thing. We've not been able to get it through the House the last few years completely, but we're going to certainly try again this year. So I've asked Nick, if you would, to come and present to us tomorrow about the background of that bill, why it's important that we fix it, if it's important that we fix it, that kind of a situation. So I just wanted to let you know it'll be more informational in nature, but we won't be taking the bill up. But I wanted us to sort of educate ourselves, since there's some new committee members that probably haven't heard this exposition before on the Miller case, and it'll be helpful for us to all have a refresher on that. So if you all have some important bills that have been assigned to the committee that you've authored or you have a special interest in, I always encourage you to let me know ahead of time so we can sit down and talk about those. There's usually a bunch of bills, like with judiciary, that get filed. You certainly can't take them all up. There's usually several, pages, 9-10 pages worth of bills that end up being signed here. So we certainly don't intend to take them all up. But if there's one that's of particular interest to you that you really feel strongly about and you want us to really look at, please pull me to the side and let me and Senator Sparks know. We'll certainly be glad to talk with you about it. So that's just word of caution, especially for our newer members that may not have been on the committee before. All right, any other questions? If not, for a motion? You've heard the motion. All in favor? All right, before you leave, I forgot one thing. It's not really business, so you don't have to sit back down, but on the Zoom issues, we're all going over